Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Stox. Be back with another reaction video. Today I'm reacting to The View. These ladies had a lot to speak about after the election. First, I want to say that I'm pretty sure everyone in America feels the same way right now. That we're pretty happy that the election is over. Now we can start building, moving forward. And another thing I want to say before I get into this is I think it's very important that we are respectful of other people's ideas, their beliefs, and you know, instead of us being divided, I believe it's very important that we find a way to actually be united. The election always seemed to divide us, and with that division, we don't listen to each other's ideas. We don't hear each other's thoughts or plans and things like that. So I think not only for us, but the future generation and all the future generations, I think it's very important for all of them to be able to ask these questions, run into these problems, and find resolve together. So I think that that's very important. Let's get to check this out. I'm gonna try and get to this as quick as possible. I got a lot to do today, so let's get to check this out.
So what happened last night? Anybody do anything interesting? Okay. The 2024 presidential race ended yesterday. And this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning. Take a look.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you.
Let me say this. When I heard Kamala speaking, I didn't find myself relating much to anything that she was telling me. I didn't, and I'm not going to say that I didn't agree with some of her views. Majority of her views I didn't agree with, and I didn't have, it's almost like she was handing me sand to stick my feet in. And just like we just heard just now with Donald Trump, a lot of the things that he was saying during his speeches and his little rallies was something that I can relate to, so pretty much that's what pointed me in that direction. So I'm just gonna say that, but however, I mean, it's always important to listen to everyone's ideas and opinions. I think it's very important that we start having these conversations. I know it's uncomfortable to have political conversations, but I think it's important that we have political conversations with not just with us, but with our family, our friends, and just to kind of keep that, sparking these ideas and sparking the ideas, the minds of the future. So I think that that's very important, man. Even the people that, whether you voted, whether you didn't vote, whether you're on the fence, and whether you're 18 and you're thinking about voting, or whether you just you didn't get there yet. It's always important to learn these political views, whether you're thinking about voting in the future or not. I think it's important that we all are able to come to these problems together and try to come to a resolve together as the United States. And I think that's very important. I think a lot of times during election, we get divided, and I think it's important that we are not divided in those times. So let's get and finish checking this out.
And God bless America. Thank you very much.
So, how you feel?
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
My takeaway is that
And I don't want them to, I'm not want to try and get through this whole thing, but I don't want to have this emotional thing. And as you can see, Whoopi is clearly emotional and agitated, and I get that. I know a lot of people may be feeling frustrated, but when you have a huge platform like this, I don't think that it's appropriate for you to, sometimes we have to leave our emotions backstage. Sometimes we have to leave our emotions in the dressing room when we come out to be professionals and, get in front of the camera. I think it's highly unfortunate for, I think when people do this, they're down in the other party, not just down in the other party, but they're down in the voters. They're down in the American citizens, the people that have voices and the people that have spoken. And I think that that's crazy. I think that it's important that we respect each other's ideas. Another thing I want to speak about is the border. When you heard Trump say that he's going to close the borders, that's something that's huge and very important to this country. I mean, when you look at certain areas, crime is going up, and I don't want to use certain terminology, but I will say this: when assault towards women, assault towards minors and things of that nature have gone up. So I think it's important that we start to close those doors. If people want to come into this country, I have no problem with that. I don't believe any American has a problem with that. I think that the problem lies when you come into this country and your first act is breaking the law. You come in illegally. You come in with a lie. You come in with false ID. And these are things that us as American citizens, will be convicted and tried in a courtroom for. Presenting fake ID. So these people coming with fake ID, they get benefits, they get places to stay, and they get this pass that says, okay, well, we don't want to deport them. We don't want to start doing mass deportations, which is the same thing that happened to this country and to these sanctuary cities when people was imported, mass people being imported here into these countries, you know what I'm saying, and into these cities and states and things of that nature, which is highly dangerous. I live in New York City downtown, and everywhere you go, everywhere you look, in front of stores, restaurants, with train stations, bus stops, there's a migrant almost everywhere. You can tell who's who, you know what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to I don't want to be how can I say this? I want to be politically correct when I say this, but I don't, I'm not trying to I don't want to be judgmental of anyone, but you can pretty much tell who's who, by their actions and the way they, present themselves. So yeah, let's go ahead and finish checking this out. I think that it's important that that's one of those things that we get done, is close those borders.
The system works. We live in a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made.
That's okay.
But I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will.
Listen.
I've been through this.
That's a strong if. Now, I was just about to say that's a strong if, but then she said she's sure it will. But that's a strong if. Nobody can predict the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But I can say this: there was a protest during every presidency that I can remember. Biden, there was protests just a few months ago. Last year, there was protests when Trump was in office before. There was protests when Obama was in. Protests when Bush was in office. There have been protests since I don't remember when there wasn't a protest. But I'm not sure exactly what she's speaking on, so let's go ahead and keep it moving.
This before with Nixon, it's been very difficult. But boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, things like that just kind of tick me off. I don't feel like it just doesn't make sense to me. It feels like, it's too much of the they putting too much fear in people. It's pretty much like saying we have a country if we can keep it, but who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow we may have a president, or tomorrow we may have a dictator. And this is it's nonsense, man. It's rhetoric to me. I think it's just complete rhetoric. Everybody says what they want to say nowadays on the internet. So let's go. Let's check this out. I'm trying to get out of here.
I like this pep talk, Coach Haynes. Listen, is it the outcome I wanted? No, but we live in a democracy. I have my vote.
Right.
Millions of people cast their votes did. And what's important to me is this. Tens of millions of Americans, our friends, our neighbors, our family members, voted for Donald Trump. we disagree with him. I know we all do at this table, but they are good, decent people who are patriots and love this country. And I can't speak to what drove them to the conclusion.
Exactly. We have to respect these people because they're our family members, they're our friends. You don't know who voted for Trump. You don't know who voted for Kamala. The thing is, we have to respect each other's opinions, beliefs, and values. And it's just that simple. That's what our democracy is built on.
Conclusion of being with him. But I think it is a moment for us to listen to each other, to hear each other, express what our concerns are. I've spent the last 4 years doing that, and also listen to people who are with him, because this is a country that there is truly more that unites us than divides us. I know it doesn't feel like that for many people in this moment, but we need to bring down the temperature, the name calling, the demonizing. Let the other side, you know, if they want to do that, they can do it. But I think it is.
Reagan one, I remember the whole map was red.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I agree with everything she said. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. I got a lot to do. I want you guys to hear this because I just want to react to what she had to say right quick.
I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was "America makes a perilous choice." I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me,
that's nonsense and rhetoric. What she is, this is I don't even know. This is just nonsense what she's saying right now. It just makes absolutely no sense that her daughter will have less rights than her. Actually, I believe she may be younger than me. She may be in the same age range. She may even be older than me. My thing is, I'm from the 70s. Well, pretty much the 80s, but I was born in the 70s. What I have seen and changes from the time I was able to recognize them to today, for men, women, different groups that have rights, what I've seen from then to now is a lot of progress, a lot of change, a lot of opinions, people listening to each other. That's what our democracy is. And I think that what she's doing right now is she's spewing nonsense and rhetoric.
many, many years ago, that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that.
Nonsense.
So again, I'm
Nonsense.
profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon.
More nonsense. And she's actually, I don't know why I stopped it, because she's about to spit more nonsense. This is just senseless. This, in the next statement that she's about to make, is very dangerous. Let's listen to this.
Box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country. Because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons. Well, and so that box better be taken off. And
she's demanding that box be taken off. And I'm gonna tell you guys why that's a very dangerous statement. Why she's demanding that little box come off there for the convicted felons. And I'm gonna tell you guys why. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna be able to relate to this. A lot of people will be able to attest, and they'll agree with me. Some of you may not even know about this. So I'm gonna try to school you guys onto why that's a very dangerous statement. There's a difference between non-violent felons and violent felons, right? When you look at the list of things that is required to become a felon, a violent felon. And I'm not going to sit here and break all of them down, but I will tell you this. There is people that maybe have did some money laundering or used a fake ID, or someone that may have picked up some stolen goods and got caught. Those type of felonies, those type of felons are the ones that come back into society rehabilitated and they get good jobs. Another thing is when you look at the violent felons, we talk about people who commit anything from armed robberies to homicides, or we could even talk about, child abusers, predators, and or you can talk about women abusers, women predators, people that, you got to think about the people that will be able to come back and get into society. Are those the same people? Someone that may have abused a few kids in their life, went to jail, came home. Is that the same person that you want to put back in a daycare center? Is that the same person you want to put in an inpatient house or a facility where they have no supervision and they're alone with someone? And I'm just giving you a small example of how dangerous that is, how dangerous that statement is. And she's letting her emotions make this decision for her. That box had better come off of there. This is nonsense that she's spewing, this rhetoric, and I see this all over the internet. And a lot of people don't even realize how dangerous that statement is. Because just imagine if that box do come off and now you can't find out who's a convicted, what felony you've been convicted for, or even if it matters if you're a felon or not. Who will be in there with your children one day? So this is a very slippery slope that she's walking down. I think that she need to be careful. And I think that it's kind of crazy that she's a former federal prosecutor that would even demand something like that. That's just nonsense. It's sickening.
I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that
I think it's sick.
He's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about.
Oh, she should have done this. She should have done this. She did what she did. She was everywhere. She talked to everybody, and people didn't come out. I don't know why, and it doesn't even matter.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to say this, right, before I get off of here, because I got to get ready to get on the highway. I'll say this, right. People did come out and vote. The people spoke. But people didn't come out and vote for her because they did not have something solid to stick their feet onto. They did not have a platform. She did not lay out we didn't hear what was going to happen. We didn't hear her real policy. She didn't drive. Some of these things need to be driven home that she did not drive home. And Trump was in neighborhoods, small towns, and he was talking to the people and driving a lot of these points home to these people to the point that he convinced them. You think Kamala didn't have those same opportunities? She sat and spoke with a lot of people. She had a lot of conventions. She even brought out some. I will listen. I'm not going to disrespect the ladies that she brought out. I will say this: she brought out some acts and artists that came out that should not have been out there because they're pretty raunchy and things of that nature. That's not what we want for our little girls. That's not what we want for our little daughters. These images and things that was put forth is a lot of things that could have damaged her her path to the presidency. But what I will say is, people did not have anything solid to stand on or anything solid to fall on for us to say that is the direction that we're gonna go in. I think that these ladies, not all of them, I think that there was a lot of dangerous statements made by some of these women. I think that it's very important that we learn from each other, we teach each other when it comes to politics, whether it's a comfortable situation or a not comfortable conversation. I think that it's very important that we have these conversations, and whether you voted or you didn't vote, because I believe one of these ladies said, if you didn't vote, you don't have anything to say about it, so just sit down and shut up or something like to that nature. My thing is what's more important is, how about teaching these people the importance of politics and teaching these people the importance of voting, opposed to saying, well, you didn't vote, you don't have no say so. You may not know why somebody didn't vote this term, or why somebody's not voting yet, or why somebody hasn't voted in their lifetime. So I think it's important that we get that instead of burning these bridges, we bridge these gaps, and we build bridges to reach each other, to hear each other, to listen, see what each other want, get these ideas, ask these questions, and come to a resolve together. So I think that that's very important for the whole the totality of United States, man. But I got a lot to do, man. I gotta get on this highway in a couple minutes, so I want to say I appreciate y'all for tapping in. If you stayed this long, man, make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, give me something solid for the end of the week. I'm trying to get to a solid 5 subscribers. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, man. Until next time, it's your boy Stox B. Let's get it.